Well, let's have a look. This is the details of the course. Now, evolution or emergence of personnel management and human resource management. Though human relations have been part of organizations since the first days of agriculture, the modern concept of human resource management began in reaction to the efficiency focus of terrorism in the early 1990s. By 1920, psychologists and employee experts in the United States started the human relations movement, which viewed our workers in terms of their psychology and tried to establish a fit between their needs and the needs of the organization. This movement grew throughout the middle of the 20th century, placing emphasis on how leadership and cohesion played important roles in organizational success. Although this view has been constantly challenged by those who put more emphasis on quantitative aspect of performance and less soft management techniques, human resources have gained a permanent role within an organization since then. Various stages through which human resource management has emerged in its present form and is still evolving are as under. Here is the stage 1, that is pre-industrial era, about 1400 AD to 1700 AD. This period is characterized by absence of any formal HRM function within organizations. However, certain radical changes occurred during this time which sowed the seed of human resource management movement. Cessation of feudalism is the characteristic of the pre-industrial era, with the release of bonded or lesser-paid labor from agriculture and other primary industries. Beginning of the free employment relationships, which formed the basis of modern labor markets, and a spectacular growth of towns and villages, along with the middle class that included skilled craftsmen and merchants who were the forerunners of factory owners. The next stage is the Industrial Revolution. This stage is characterized by rapid technological changes and specialization, which led to the emergence of personnel management as a discipline. In this stage, mass production facilitated by power-driven machinery, establishment of factories which separated place of work from residence, due to which employees lost personal touch with employees, increase in numbers of employees per employer, introduction of division of labor, growth of new class of technical and professional employees, migration of labor from rural to urban areas, and jobs became monotonous and routine due to mechanization and specialization, I should say. The above changes in the organizational climate required the appointment of a separate person to handle labor problems. However, labor was considered as a commodity that could be bought or sold. The political philosophy of that time was of laissez-faire, means least interference of government. Next stage is scientific management. Around 1900 century, F.W. Taylor developed the theory of scientific management to help the managers to manage large-size organizations, which were the results of the Industrial Revolution. This theory contributed to the evolution of HRM in many ways. These are proposed professionalization of management. It pointed to the need for a separate human resource function in organizations. Suggested the use of job analysis as the basis for employee selection, training, job evaluation, and compensation. Demonstrated that work and jobs can be systematically studied, analyzed, redesigned, or improved upon. Advocated the idea of differential pay on the basis of productivity, that is performance-related pay, that we also call the incentives, and mutuality of goals between management and workers. Next stage is next, you can say, despite contributing significantly to the realization of the part of management about the need of HRM, the theory of scientific management had several limitations also. These limitations are excessive emphasis on production efficiency, leading to the neglect of the workers, looked upon workers as machines who could be adapted to the jobs, sees no need to incorporate human factors in its system. considered the workers as economic man who totally strived to maximize their economic earnings and neglected the basic social and psychological drives of employees. Represented a form of industrial autocracy where management did all the planning and workers simply had to execute those plans. Overemphasized technical efficiency while human factor was ignored. Next stage is trade unionism. First of all, we should understand what is trade union. Trade union is an organization of employees which is formed by the employees to protect and promote the rights and interests of its members. Workers formed unions to force management to improve their wages and working conditions through collective support. The tools used mainly were strikes, slowdowns, picketing, boycotts, and sabotage. Gave rise to several personal practices, namely collective bargaining, grievance handling system, arbitration as a means of resolving conflicts, expansion of employee benefits programs, installation of rational and defensible wage structures. Next stage is welfare practices. Anything done for the comfort and improvement, intellectual or social, of the employees over and above the wage paid, which is not a necessity of the industry nor required by the law. Widespread in the 19th and early 20th centuries to improve the working conditions of factory workers during this time. Some industries in USA hire welfare secretaries to administer welfare programs with the prime purposes of avoiding industrial conflicts and interference of unions, promoting good management workers' relations, and increasing workers' productivity and reducing labor turnover. The next stage is industrial psychology. Began in 1913 when Hugo Munsterberg published Psychology and Industrial Efficiency. Besides him, a number of other psychologists such as Pfaffenberger, Butt, and Hafner contributed to this line of thinking. Industrial psychologists' main suggestions are analysis of jobs in terms of mental and emotional requirements, matching of employees' skills with the requirements of jobs, and use of psychology in the fields of personnel testing, interviewing, attitude measurement, learning theory, training, monotony, study, safety, and human engineering. William Gilbreth, a psychologist and the contemporary of F. W. Taylor, sought to integrate industrial psychology with scientific management by incorporating individually in a selection and motivation of employees. The next stage is World War I and emergence of personal management as a profession. Impacts of war. War resulted in widespread shortage of labor. Labor turnover increased drastically as a result of the increase in job opportunities. And labor shortage, accompanied by a rapid rise in wages and an increased demand for wartime production, created a need for employers to more efficiently utilize their workers. Business responded to the above effects, and the year 1918 recorded the birth of a new profession, that is personnel management. Next stage of emergence of human resource management is human relations movement. As a result of the Hawthorne experiments, the human relations movement began around 1945, highlighted the role of informal groups in industry. While scientific management viewed an organization as a techno-economic system, the human relations movement considered it a social system, tried to incorporate human factor into scientific management. Emphasis was an increasing productivity through discovering the needs of workers and to integrate them with the needs of the organization. The next stage is behavioral sciences movement. Many behavioral scientists, Abraham Maslow, Douglas McGregor, Frederick Hirschberg, Francis Linkert, to name a few from their diverse behavioral sciences, namely anthropology, sociology, psychology, have made significant contribution to this approach. This stage led to a development of new techniques of motivation and leadership, as for example, job enrichment, employee participation, two-way communication, management by objectives, etc. Considered employees as valuable assets of an organization. The final stage is the emergence of contemporary HRM function. Some environmental changes occurred towards the end of 1950s onwards, which contributed to the transformation of the then personnel management or industrial relations function. Shift from manufacturing employment to service employment, decrease in unionism in private sector, increase in government regulation of the terms and conditions of employment, increased competition, increased globalization, privatization, and liberalization, ever occurring changes in business environment. These changes created organizational needs that required the personnel function to emerge from being a low profile and reactive maintenance activity to being a primary and strategic partner in organizations. As a result, the role of industrial relations system got displaced and the personnel function started being called human resource management. These are the stages of emergence of human resource management or personal management. Okay. Thank you.